Okay, guys, so we had so much fun picking apart Rachel Goes Rogue Part 1. And this is Chapter 1. This is her first podcast episode. And we're not sitting here trying to be mean. I'm just trying to sit here and decipher what is true, what is not. We obviously saw her Bethany Frankel interview, and I felt like some of it was just calculated as hell, just like I feel like some of these statements are also calculated. So we're about to break it all down. Welcome back. Happy Monday. If you haven't, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and let's jump right in.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
Okay, guys, so we're gonna break this all down really quick for you because well, let's play the clips. You know what? I'm one of those people who I love a good clip. Thank you to all of our people who are just doing the work and putting themselves out there. Because I'm looking at these clips, I'm watching these clips, and I'm like, I got some shit to say, especially this one where Rachel says Tom Sandoval is the main reason she didn't want to come back for season 11. She also talked about how she and Tom would talk on the phone almost every single day when she first went into treatment. This was on Bywig, Hello Drama. Let's play it.
Main reason you did not want to be a part of season 11.
Oh. The main reason why I didn't want to be a part of season 11 is because I don't want to be with Tom, and I've made the decision to cut Tom out of my life. Going back to film the show, it would...
Can I say, though, then why blow up somebody else's life if the goal was not to be with him? Obviously, you sought therapy for this. And Ariana's doing amazing. But let's blow up somebody else's freaking life by hooking up with their boyfriend. And I'm not bashing her. I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, then you would think that you would be doing it because you love him, because there's something there. It's not at all what it was.
Forced me to interact with him, first of all. And I know I'm on the outskirts with all the other cast, so I wouldn't get my story across. I really believe that the girls wouldn't give me the time of day to let me open up to them, given my previous history with my interactions with them. So because I would be on the outskirts with the cast, it would put me in the same boat as Tom. And Tom has a way with his words, and he would get back in my ear, and I know I'm not in the place where I'm completely strong enough to be able to resist that. You know, I'm not... the risk versus reward. Like, it's too risky for me to go back, especially at the most vulnerable state I've ever been in my life. So couldn't.
Did you at all consider going back?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So going into treatment, right? I knew that Tom was not a healthy person for me. I had become the worst version of myself through the 7 months of, secrecy and deception and going along with these lies that ate me up.
I believe that.
And, part of that is my fault. I chose to put myself in that situation, and it was a really bad choice. And I'm suffering the consequences now. But I was still in relation with Tom. We were talking on the phone almost every single day when I went in for treatment. And in those months that I was in there, I was debating whether or not to go back to do the show. And I really, I realized that my problem stemmed from these unhealthy relationships And although I knew that Tom was bad for me and he had violated me and got me into this position,
Girl,
I
you
was
both did it.
still talking to him and still making plans to see him after I got out of treatment.
That's actually really annoying. When she says he violated me and he got me in this position, no. He was with someone, so that made him a cheater. That was one of your best friends, so that made you a really awful person. It takes two to tango. Literally, I've never been able to put that little phrase into a situation. This is one of those situations you snuck around. You were sharing lightning bolt necklaces. You were pen pals while you went into the mental health facility. You were constantly talking. You guys ran around with each other. You did everything that you wanted to do while hooking up and even having sex at Sheena's wedding in Mexico. What are you talking about? Take some accountability. That's the thing is like when somebody takes accountability, I'm like, oh, I love it. In this moment, no, ma'am.
So I knew my main focus needed to be more on like, why am I doing this?
I mean, are we going to answer that? Okay. It doesn't stop there. We have one more clip for you because Rachel also talks about Graham, and that was the dog that she used to have with James, and says that James was not a good dog owner. And according to Rachel, James would taunt and antagonize Graham. James would kick Graham off of the couch when he was sleeping and not expecting it, which would shock him. He would encourage Graham to bite his hand, and also that reinforced his biting behavior. Rachel says when James used to drink and yell, Graham would hide under the couch. Here we go.
Because I don't want to put anything out there that's gonna, I don't know. My intentions aren't to bring somebody down, but I feel like it's an important piece in this puzzle. The truth of the matter is, James was not a good dog owner in the way that James would taunt Graham and he would just antagonize him. He would kick Graham off of the couch when he was sleeping and not expecting it. So that would shock him. He would encourage Graham to bite his hands, and it really reinforced that biting behavior with Graham. And the moments where he did drink too much and he was unhinged and yelling, Graham would hide under the couch. So, and dogs pick up on that kind of energy.
That's
so
true.
I'm sure that played a part in his behavior. And I would do my best to stop James from tormenting Graham, but I felt myself nagging him. And my mom used to nag when I grew up, and I don't want to be like my mom. So I would like nag and nag, and then I would stop, but I would express to him that this is really bothering me. But I put him in training. We did agility together, and I had him in special socialization training after James and I broke up. But Graham has bitten a few people. And my parents were taking care of Graham for me while I was at the Meadows. So one day I got a phone call from my mom, and she was in a panic on the phone. She said that she's on her way to the emergency room because Graham bit her, and she has a gash on her finger where the doctor said he couldn't even stitch it up. It was just like a chunk of flesh missing. And he recommended that we put the dog down.
Oof.
And I didn't want that. I was already inquiring about different foster families to watch over Graham, but the ones that did take him in said it wasn't a good fit. So I had the really difficult decision to either leave the Meadows and take care of my dog, or stay and extend my stay because I knew I had more work that needed to be done because I was still talking to Tom every single day. So my family found a breed-specific golden doodle rescue in Southern California, and my dad drove him over there. And my mom had the trainer's phone number, and they promised to keep the rescue adoption situation under wraps because I was a public figure. My mom made it very clear. She didn't say who I was, but she said that I've been in the media lately and we would like to keep this confidential. So they promised to do that. And so I guess they had Graham adopted out to a new owner. The owner returned Graham in 3 days because he bit him. And then they needed more money for a new trainer because the trainer that was working with him didn't want to work with him anymore. And so they scanned his microchip, saw that it was me registered with the dog, and they decided to contact Vanderpump Dogs. And so Lisa Vanderpump was notified that this golden doodle rescue had graham cracker. And she was like, I think they were asking for a donation, but she was like, oh, I'll adopt graham cracker, you know? And so, so she adopts him and then, you know, doesn't tell me or anybody, keeps it a secret because we all know like her first priority is the storyline.
And how'd you find out?
Okay, so I found out. So I was 1 week after my 90-day stay at this facility, I was out. Basically, we were trying to come to an agreement in negotiations to get me back to do Vanderpump Rules. They were really trying to get me to sign to do Vanderpump Rules before the cast trip to Lake Tahoe, because that's when they wanted me to re-enter. Ultimately, I said, whichever way you put it, I physically can't go back because it wouldn't be good for me. And so they said, fine, it's over. You're done. And then the next week, my mom and I are sitting on the bed and we're looking at Instagram, and it was a fan that posted, Graham, is that you in Lake Tahoe? And I was like, my heart sank. And I was like, Mom, there's no way that Graham would be back on the show, right? Like that just doesn't make sense. And she's like, oh, I don't know. Like, let me call the trainer and let me call the foster. And the foster told us like, oh, isn't it great? Lisa Vanderpump adopted Graham.
Oh, man.
She said that if she can't rehome him, that he'll live out the rest of his days on her ranch. And my mom and I are like, ranch? Like, she's not having a ranch.
So Graham's back on the show and you don't have Graham, but they have Graham and they're filming with Graham, which I know sounds crazy. We're talking about Graham, but
I surrendered all rights to Graham when I gave him to the rescue to be rehomed with a good family who's experienced with dogs who have aggressive behavior. And Lisa goes and adopts him, takes him to Lake Tahoe, and surprises James with Graham, saying, James, well, I can only imagine, but basically the story that they put out there is Lisa told everyone that I surrendered my dog at a kill shelter and he was hours away of being euthanized.
Yeah, so this was what was in the press.
Yes. So I know that that's the story. That's the storyline that they're going to push for season 11 when Graham comes into the picture.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sure James, like, to say that, obviously the goal is to get a reaction, right?
Yeah.
And James is a very reactive person. So I could only imagine like what his thought process is. And then it's like to drop this dog on you and not even like console your girlfriend to see like what's, you know, like it was very like spur of the moment. And to think about, I was only a week out of my treatment and their whole plan was to get me to Tahoe so that they could drop this bomb on me.
Crazy.
I told Lisa,
You spoke to her.
yeah, I texted her saying, I don't support Graham being with James. He needs to be with an owner who knows how to work with troubled dogs. And I won't go into the specifics of why I don't think James is a worthy dog owner, but this is,
I think you already have.
I would not live with myself if I didn't express these concerns and something were to happen. And so she called me and I expressed my thoughts, but her concerns more lied with me coming back to do the show. And she said, well, darling, why don't you just come to Villa Rosa and bring me some flowers and explain why you left Sir so abruptly without notice and apologize. And then you can explain your side of the story. And it was like, wait, what? And almost, like it almost got me because I was like, well, I do want to explain my side of the story. Like, this is an important thing. Like, this is my child that's being drawn into this mix. And I feel like they were almost using him as bait.
They were definitely using him as bait. Okay, guys, this was a lot. I mean, honestly, you got bamboozled, girl. But I want to hear what you guys think. I don't want to just put this out there. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's crazy to break the fourth wall and hear what's going on behind the scenes. I love you guys. Smash that like button. Show some love. And do you believe Rachel? I think that's the biggest question. See you in a little bit. Bye.